Are the Marshall Thundering Herds contenders when it comes to Sunbelt baseball? Let's talk about it next with the Herds head coach Greg Beals. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Mazda. We put the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work. That defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Okay, we'll get back to basketball eventually, but we got to get these previews in before the start of the season come Friday. And Marshall had one of the more ridiculous, but maybe exciting seasons because they started out losing 5 in a row, 6 out of 7. Then they go on a 9-game winning streak, and that kind of continued all the way through the season. And eventually, they finished in the semifinals against Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. So what a crazy season it was for Marshall. Greg Beals goes into why they were on that roller coaster ride. We talk about the roller coaster ride, what turned things around, the importance of that new stadium, which was just finished a couple of years ago, and who has impressed us so far. And I get a little surprise. All right, we'll find out what that is. We did do timing off a little bit. Probably should have played this one on Saturday, but we didn't. We do talk about the enthusiasm in Huntington for the big ball game against Miami. Obviously, it didn't turn out the way the Herd or any of us Sunbelt people wanted it to go. Nonetheless, he is the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd baseball team. He is Greg Beals, and he is Locked On Sunbelt. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. We're bringing in the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd, Greg Beals. He is the 9th Sunbelt coach to hop on to help us preview the 2026 season. Looking back, Coach, was the 2025 Sunbelt season the exciting roller coaster ride that we saw it from the outside? Because what was it like from the inside? Just to begin the season, you guys lost 6 out of 7. You got swept in Hawaii. But not the worst place. If you're going to get swept, not the worst place to do that. And then you reeled off 9 in a row. You started off poorly and then ended up in the Sun Belt semifinals. That was one crazy baseball season.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Dave. First of all, thanks for having me on, and thanks for covering Sun Belt Conference baseball. We started the season out in Hawaii and played some really good games out there. It's a tough place to win. You're a long way from home, and they make sure you know that you're a long way from home out there. I take nothing away from their ball club. They got a really good ball club, but it's just a tough place to play, a tough place to win. Then weekend 2, we went to Georgia Tech and played against my former coach in his last season, Danny Hall, and another challenging weekend. We ended up winning 2 out of the 4 games there. I think the roller coaster comes, and it's not as much. We kind of anticipated a little bit, and I give our guys a lot of credit for weathering the storm. We had a period of time in our season where we played Southern Miss, Troy, Coastal Carolina in a 4-week period of time.
Oh, man.
And that's the roller coaster you saw. That was the tunnel phase of the roller coaster. We were down in the tunnel, and we got our tails whooped at Coastal, and that was the end of it. And we bounced back from that, and give our guys credit. And my coaching staff, we worked hard to keep the guys in the right frame of mind, to give them the idea, like, we just went through it. Now, can we be mentally tough enough to deal with going through it? And now we're in a space in this schedule where I think if we play up to our ability, we can climb ourselves back into it. And our guys believed it and certainly did it.
Yeah, with all due respect to everybody else, not a whole lot of teams in the Sun Belt have a Morrison and Fluky back to back. They just don't.
Right. You're exactly right.
All right. So what did you see? You said they had the right mental approach. Was there something? Was it just easier scheduling? What did turn it around?
I think a lot of it's about believing, and developing and getting some confidence. That's always the case. I think the one thing more than anything that's happening here at Marshall is our culture is growing, and the expectation within the program is growing. So our guys expect to play well, expect to compete, to win on a daily basis.
All right. And then, so how do you, as the leader, how do you keep a level head with that as well? And I can't believe I didn't do this. Wait to answer this question because I should have been more prepared. Excuse me. Hold on. There we go.
Love it. Yeah, you look good in green.
Yeah, matches the shirt.
That's right.
Yeah. So how did you mentally prepare for that as well? Because obviously it's frustrating for the coach. You guys want to win. You got to keep their head above water as well. I mean, let's put it bluntly. Did you just realize that, all right, these teams are a little bit better than us, but we may be better than the other teams we're playing coming up?
Yeah. And I first of all, Dave, I think you got to have a vision and you got to have core values. Whether you're winning or losing, your core values stand true and strong. And that's something that I firmly believe in. Through that challenge, we won 2 out of 3 against Southern Miss here at home. We lost on the road to Troy and played some really close ball games down there. I think we had a 2-run loss, a 1-run loss, and a 1-run win. So all 3 games were really close. And so even though we didn't win, I'm not a huge moral victory guy, but we're in it. And at that point, Troy was ranked in the top 25 and say, hey, we're right here. We're shot for shot. The real challenge is coming out of Coastal because they got us. We didn't play well. It was the end of that kind of run, and we were on the road at their place. They're obviously playing great baseball. That was the challenge, was getting our guys to bounce back out of that. But to answer your question, I should have done it shorter than that. It's the core value system, that we have, and a vision of where we're going. And that, man, there's always going to be some adversity. If you don't think there's going to be some adversity, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, that's baseball. Was there one of those come from behind victories, series wins at the end? Because it is amazing everyone's point of view, right? Because you win 2 out of 3, you win the first 2, you want to win that Sunday game. You lose that Sunday game after you win 2 out of 3, you don't feel great for whatever reason, which is ridiculous. And yet if you lose the first 2 ball games and you win Sunday, you don't feel nearly as bad.
Yeah.
And so was there one of those come from behind victories that all of a sudden, wow, we're pretty good, we can do this, that turned the season around? Because a lot of times it is ridiculous because baseball doesn't have that momentum. It's always based on the next day's starting pitcher, as they say. But was there one of those games that these guys turned around and said, Coach, we got this?
Well, I don't know if there was, though. There definitely was a game.
Okay.
And I believe it's where that belief factor ramped in our clubhouse. And, we beat West Virginia on a Tuesday or Wednesday, midweeker. We played in Charleston, West Virginia. So us and West Virginia play each other 3 times. We play home, and then in Charleston. There's a minor league stadium there in Charleston. We had 9,000 West Virginians came to watch that baseball game.
That's awesome.
So neither one of us like not playing at home, but for 9,000 people to come watch a college baseball game in the state of West Virginia, that's a big deal. So we're going to continue to do that.
That's great.
And we won. We were the home team there this past year, and we won in a walk-off. And then we went on the road to Georgia State and swept there. And then Georgia Southern came here for the last week. We swept that one. And like you said, I think we won our last 7 conference games to put ourselves in a way different position.
Yeah. So that must have been nice. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back and continue our conversation with Greg Beals, the Marshall Thundering Herd head baseball coach. We talk about how important the stadium being built was and who has impressed so far during practice. We do that right after I tell you about Mazda and Wayfair. This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. And we'll give it up to the Troy Trojans. They had a little bit of a stumble after losing a couple in a row. They've put together 2 nice wins and beating Akron at home rather decisively, mostly 8 to an 11-point ball game in that second half. And again, once again looks like Scott Cross's guys are heading in the right direction. These remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, given that it's extra fire, that grit, and I never quit. We put the same passion in every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. And Wayfair. The new year's here, and it's a perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for you, for your style and budget. Specifically for me, you can see the shelves back there. I bought that from Wayfair. The desk that I always do the podcast on, I bought that from Wayfair. And as I always say, if I can put these things together, you guys can put these things together. That's for sure. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Continue our conversation with Greg Beals, the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd Baseball Club, telling us how important building that stadium and getting it done finally was to the program and who has impressed in practice so far. We're talking with Greg Beals, head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. I was very fortunate to go to the Sunbelt Conference football championship game. Made a pit stop in Huntington, West Virginia, hosted by none other than the Thundercast's Russ Livingood. I got a guided tour of Huntington, including your new ballpark, which you've only been in for a couple of seasons. I just think that is a perfectly quaint, nice new ballpark, which I think is going to get more scenic as the surrounding area gets built up. Explain to folks how important it is to have a home ballpark like that.
Well, it's all the difference in the world for Marshall baseball, and Marshall baseball is on the rise, and it's because of the stadium. I mean, in the past, it's been really tough on our program because we were playing at a city park, and you don't have your own home. That makes recruiting tough. That makes training tough. That puts morale in a different spot. And building the ballpark changed all that overnight, basically. And with the help of my coaching staff on the recruiting ends, we've taken this and getting value out of it from the recruiting aspect. So, it's been a lot of fun. I came here and was a piece of building this whole thing, and from batter's eyes to seats in the stadium to the batting cages in the indoor building. I was in all those meetings. So a lot of fun there. And I really believe that we built something that is exactly right for Marshall University.
Yeah. Explain the capacity, because I think it is a perfect size. Obviously, for the first 6 weeks or so, it's still going to be a little chilly. You can't do anything about that.
Right. So we play the first 2 weekends on the road, trying to chase some weather down. Then, we play the first week of March in here, and it can be chilly, but with a new ballpark, we got to do it. We have 2,280 chairback seats, so just under 3,000 chairback seats. We have the concrete concourse that wraps behind those seats and all the way down both lines, with the old grassy knoll, whatever you say, on both sides.
Right.
So there's plenty of standing room, plenty of seating. Again, there's just under 3,000 chairbacks, but we have plenty of space for picnic areas and private areas. We have a dugout club that has a tent pavilion down the left field line. And then on the inside above the stadium, there's a club area and a couple private suites as well.
So there you go. It just seems like the perfect size. It was nice to get that tour from Russ from the Thundercast. We're talking to Greg Beals, head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day, continuing our 2026 Sunbelt baseball preview. All right, how has Marshall used the portal this season? We'll say in general, and how has it changed? Has it changed any now that guys are playing into their 30s?
Yeah, right. Well, first of all, it's always changing. I mean, I've been doing
Every
this
day.
for 33 years.
I could ask you a question next week, and it's going to be different.
Yeah, 33 years, and don't think that you're ever just pressing play again.
It was one way for 30 of those years, and the last 3 have been off the charts.
Yeah, we're doing things that we used to get in trouble for right now.
That's right.
So no, I mean, yeah, we're using the portal. We did some things, and I want to do it to complement. I want to still recruit in the high school area. I've built a career on player development, and I want to continue to do that. Bring high school kids in and develop them. But the entire program is not going to be. You can't do it that way for the entire program. I want to use the transfer portal to complement those efforts when there's a spot, when there's a hole, where there, and we need that immediate, so to say, help. Then that's where we're going to use the transfer portal. I'm really excited. We got Drew Harlow back. Drew Harlow was a guy that went and had to go play Division II because of NCAA rules to get his last COVID year back. Oh. Then the NCAA said we messed that up and gave him another year of Division I. Everybody in his situation got another year of Division I back for this year. So he's essentially a transfer portal guy, but he's a Marshall guy. He was here before, and he led Division II. In all strikeouts, led the nation in Division II strikeouts last year, and he was our Friday night guy 2 years ago. So we have our entire rotation back. We brought Drew Harlow back. We also got a guy in Alex Caudill, transferred from another Division II school there in Ohio. Alex is a very talented young man too. Those two guys are going to greatly impact our pitching staff, which I believe it to be the strength of our ball club. The depth and the strength of our pitching staff is at a pretty high level, in my opinion. We've got a couple of freshmen that are very talented, and that they're going to get some time as well. So I feel like we got 80% of our innings from last year back, and we've complemented those 80% of our innings. We got them back, and we've complemented that 80% quite a bit, I believe.
Well, that's almost all of it. It seems. I had a fellow Sunbelt coach say that he's taking advantage of some of these high school players being overlooked. And he basically admitted, I'm getting better freshmen than I normally would because they're getting overlooked. Are you finding the same results at Marshall, that maybe some guys that would be going to bigger schools are getting overlooked because they're going the portal way, and yet we're getting guys that not only are going to come, but are going to contribute much earlier than they necessarily would be because they're better than the freshmen that we used to get?
That's a fact. 100% true. I say fact. I shouldn't say that. It's in my opinion. We hope it's true. That is the case. Yeah.
All right. So that's interesting. All right. So how many freshmen do you have on the team this year? Do you know?
7. Yeah. There's 7 rookies. And 3 of them are on the mound. I think are going to contribute. And we got a third baseman that's close. As a freshman, and I think by April he's going to start making some noise.
And how many are on the travel team this day? Because do you guys have 34 scholarships yet, or are you're still working up to that?
Yeah, well, it's a combination of what Marshall's doing. We're able to give 34 guys some scholarship. We're not all at full right now, but the president of our university and our athletic department have worked really hard to put our baseball program in a pretty good position in this new landscape.
From my understanding, the president could fund the scholarships if he wanted to, personally.
He does an awful lot for our community and our university. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, we have that, and we're the travel roster is going up to 34. So that, the NCAA's passed that, and the Sun Belt Conference is talking about doing the same. That it's amazing how we are 9 days from opening day and we're still passing rules and all this to get going. Just
Right.
There's so much change and so much happening. But, we have a handful of those rookies that'll make the travel squad for sure.
So all of a sudden we're doubling up on the bus because it used to be everybody get their own seat.
There used to be a little more room on the bus. Yeah.
All right. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see all those freshmen sitting together is what's going to happen.
That's right. They're doubling up.
Yeah, I've been there. I was lucky as the broadcaster to sit right behind the manager. I got my own 2 seats. I felt very fortunate when that was the case. Very fortunate.
Yeah.
He's the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd. He's Greg Beals. We're on Lockdown Sunbelt, your team every day. All right, so the baseball is that one sport, and softball, I guess, that the Sunbelt can compete nationally. So Coastal goes on and plays LSU for the national championship. Southern Miss made and hosted the tournament. They probably should have made the regional, but different story for a different topic for a different day. So does that raise the bar? Does that make it more exciting? Does that make it more challenging? Because this is the sport where, you can do it. You don't have to win. You don't have to have a good weekend to make the NCAA tournament. If you have a good season, you can make the NCAA tournament through the Sun Belt.
Yeah. Well, first of all, our conference is it's a great baseball conference, no doubt about it. Just like you said, when you talk about raising the bar, I think we raised the bar. The guys in our clubhouse raised the bar. We raised the bar and put ourselves in a position to be one of those teams. We know that our conference is going to put 2, 3, 4 teams in the national tournament.
Yeah.
We're fighting at Marshall University to raise our bar to get in position to be one of those teams because we know the strength of our conference will provide that opportunity for us. So the competitiveness in our conference certainly sharpens us. But I feel like, I don't feel like somebody else is going to raise my bar, so to say.
Got it. All right. So we mentioned the portal. How has Marshall used NIL? Is there an NIL thing for baseball over there yet? Or is it just the revenue share?
Yeah, no, we're doing the NIL revenue share. It's all going to become the same kind of thing,
sure.
Here in the future. And we're in that area, and it's an area like all of us, we feel like we need to grow at and get better. And because we want to compete, and, we were picked 12th in the conference last year and we're picked 4th now. So we're moving, and I want to continue to move and I want to continue to compete. There's a dude still inside of me that wants to do something, and Marshall's a place where I think we can do it. I believe that, and we got to keep growing, and the NIL rev share area is one of those areas that we need to work on. As a coach, I need to help drive that.
Let's take one more timeout. We'll come back and wrap up our conversation with Greg Beals, the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd baseball team. We talk about traveling from Huntington to all over the Sun Belt. We find out I get a surprise. And we do talk about how excited the town was for the big ball game against Miami that, again, did not go Marshall's way. We'll do that right after I tell you about TurboTax and the Everydayer Club. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever just to hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February 28th. Taxes take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. And the Everydayer Club. Thank you for making Locked On Sunbelt your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live Sunbelt sports every day, all day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Sunbelt with no interruptions for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to LockedOnSunbelt.supercast or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let's wrap up our conversation with the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd, Greg Beals. We talk about travel in the Sunbelt from Huntington, West Virginia. We got the Herd heading my way. We're looking forward to that. And we do talk about how excited the community was for the big showdown between Marshall and the Miami Redhawks. He is the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd. He is Greg Beals, and he is Locked On Sunbelt. We're talking to Greg Beals, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. So being in Marshall, what's the toughest challenges? Because you're kind of a little bit of an outpost over there in the Sunbelt.
You use such good words. The outpost. That's a professional word right there. Good job. Now the biggest challenge is, I'm pretty sure we're the northernmost school in our conference.
Right.
We got 3 inches of ice on our field right now.
Oh boy.
We haven't been outside in 12 days.
Right.
So we've had 4 practices on our field and so far in this preseason. And I don't know when hopefully we're going to have a chance to get outside next week, game week, for a couple of days. That's the challenge. I've spent my whole career up here in the Midwest. So we've done that, been in this situation before. When I say it's the challenge is keeping the guys sharp, keeping them mentally sharp day in and day out. When you're simulating stuff indoors on indoor football field, and you're taking your at-bats in a batting cage, and you're pitching with no base runners and no defense, and we're judging whether things are hits or not. And
right.
So that's just a challenge, just keeping our guys as sharp as we can. And again, my coaching staff has done a really good job in helping mix things up just to keep it as fresh as we can for the guys.
What about that bus ride to James Madison? While lovely, almost treacherous. So making the ride to Harrisonburg, 3 hours to Huntington, no problem. Spent the night, had a great time. The next day, the 4-hour ride seemed to take 8 hours. And then coming back down the mountain, I needed to pull off because my eyes were shut. And I don't know if I was oxygen depraved or not. So that ride is something different. Do you guys plan on leaving earlier or something like that to go to JMU? Because that's a nutso ride up and down those mountains. You keep on climbing. I just went up again, and I'm going up again. And then they tell you to slow down, and there's pull-offs. Anytime there's pull-offs on the road, I get terrified.
Yeah, you better have your eye in the rearview mirror if there's a pull-off over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting ride. There's a lot of curves and climbing ups and downs between the mountains and the streams along the way. There's quite a bit there. That is our travel is a challenge because we have regional airports in our area, which have the regional planes, which you can't put a team on the regional plane. So we got to travel when we get to an airport. And there's other schools in our conference that are the same way that have to travel to get to an airport. So if you happen to be going to one of those schools, you got to travel to get to an airport. Then you land, you got to travel again to get to a school. So we try to bus as much as we can without being too demanding on our student athletes. We try to bus as much as we can I always look at it as what's the total hours, as far as we're going to have to bus to an airport, do a layover, bus again. What's the total hours? Can we just beat it on the bus? we look at it that way. But there's always challenges, and every school's got some travel challenges.
So you're spending a little time when you have to make a trip to lovely Boone, North Carolina, is what you're telling me.
Oh yeah. We'll have a lunch packed.
So is that a bus ride? Because like you said, and all it may save us an hour if we're on the plane.
Yeah, no, that's a bus ride. We bus everything on our side. Coastal and Georgia State, Georgia Southern. We're everything on our side. We're busing, and pretty much everything on the other side we're flying to.
I did speak to another Sun Belt coach, and they're taking advantage of the games in between series with the travel. Sure. So if you're busing to those, do you try to play challenging games midweek, either on your way down or on your way back?
Always looking at that. And one, can I use my spring break week with no classes? The other thing that's nice is there's much more online classes. So when our guys are away from campus, it's not as daunting on their academics as it used to be when we were in school. If you missed, you missed.
Right.
There's so much more information to be had, and when they're gone, and there's online classes, so they're not gone anyway. So it does make those opportunities easier to execute.
So again, hashtag always a bright side kind of guy. That's one of the benefits that came out of COVID. That's straight out of COVID.
100%. Yeah.
But so you said, you got 3 inches of ice on your field. We here in Louisville, just down the road, as it turns out, right? They didn't have school for 10 days because, my neighborhood's still not plowed because the buses aren't going through the neighborhood. But yet they missed like 1 or 2 days of school. But once the teachers could get back, they're all online. They're not in school, but they haven't missed any school.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that.
You guys probably had ice too, then, didn't you?
Not as bad in Louisville. We only had about 6 inches south of here and down by the Distillery. Yes, a ton of ice. Yeah. It got bad, especially everybody who lives where Bardstown is and Elizabethtown. And, if they're on the other side of the state in Loretto, yes, bad ice. But
so you know where the distilleries are, it sounds like.
I do know where the distilleries are. That's we went training to Buffalo Trace on Tuesday.
Good for you.
That's a tough gig. And then we saw the oldest warehouse from 1915 from Jim Beam at the old Granddad Distillery. So that was
cool.
a great learning experience, seeing all of this and all the people that make it go. So where I work, and the tourists come through to get their bottle of Knob Creek, right? They do 600 bottles a day. You should see these that are doing like 200 bottles a minute. Wow. It is fascinating. Yeah. If you're ever, recruiting in Kentucky, Coach, come on by. All right. We'll give you a little guided tour. All right.
We're playing back-to-back days in Louisville this year.
Oh, really? All right. Yeah. There you go. All right. I live across the street from the school, basically. All right. Basically in Skylar Mead's old neighborhood. Didn't even realize that. But he grew up by the White Castle. I live by that. And that's across the street from Louisville. So now I know I'm going to a Louisville Cards Marshall baseball game. You guys are coming to me. All right.
Sounds good.
Love it. JMU came football wise, and now you guys are coming baseball wise. So we'll go to a Cards game or a Cards game. All right. So to wrap it up here.
Sure.
Talk with Greg Beals, head baseball coach for the Marshall Thundering Herd, Locked On Sun Belt. Major sporting event happening this weekend in Huntington, West Virginia. The undefeated Miami Redhawks are coming into town. Marshall's had a pretty good basketball season, 11-2 at home. How exciting is the community for that? And everybody in the Sun Belt has to be rooting for Marshall in this case. And something like that can lift the entire conference and the entire program up to another level.
Well, Huntington's definitely ready. We're ready for it. I think I read where we're already sold out. Coach Jackson's got our guys play really hard. They play really hard. They defend. They compete. So our boys will be ready for them for sure, and it'll be a battle. So we're looking forward to it. I look forward to watching. I'll certainly be there myself as well to check it out.
All right. So quickly, you mentioned some guys. You got the rotation basically back. Who are some other guys that you're expecting to contribute here in 2026?
Well, I really like the right side of our infield. Those two guys are back, and they're going to be juniors coming off of a year where they got they got all the at-bats as sophomores, and now they're getting them all again. And A.J. Havrill will be our first baseman. Tyler Kamer will be our second baseman. Two right-handed bats that are going to give us tough at-bats. Not going to knock the ball over the wall a whole bunch of times, but just give really tough at-bats and compete in the box. I like where those guys are at. The right fielder, Jackson Halter, that we mentioned earlier, is back. Holt's doing really well, and he'll be in the middle of that lineup. And then we got a 4-year guy in Cam Harthen in center field who projects to be at the top of the order, a plus defender in center field. That's the other thing. I really like how our team played defense in the fall. Right? And we're going to pitch it, and if we can play defense like we've shown to have the ability to play defense, pitch and play defense, you got a chance to be in good games. And then if you can complement it with the competitive type of at-bats I think we're capable of, we're going to be a tough team to beat. And that's what we're trying to be. We're trying to be as consistent and as solid and play our game of baseball as cleanly as we can and make another team have to beat us.
Defense can save a lot of runs. You're going to give up runs, but if you keep them straight instead of crooked, those are the difference between who wins and loses. You know that. No doubt. He's Greg Beals. He's the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd. He's locked on Sunbelt, your teams every day. Best of luck, Coach. We're going to see you this year. I'm looking forward to that already. Coming.
Wear that hat.
I'll wear the hat. They may not let me in the press box. I may need some tickets if I'm going to be wearing the hat. So I'll be in touch with you.
We can take care of that.
We may bring a beverage or two with us for your time here on Locked on Sunbelt. Really appreciate it, Coach. Thank you so much.
No, thank you too. It's been fun.